Hi everybody, and welcome to Traveling with Russell. And welcome to a new video. Welcome to Red Square in the very center of Moscow. And today I'm going to have a little bit of a walk around Red Square. It is actually the evening time. It is Sunday night, and they've had an exposition here for the last couple of days. Finally, I've got a chance to come to it today, and I thought we'd go for a walk around together. I don't often make videos at night, so I'm not sure how it'll come out. I think it might be an interesting video for you to join me here on Red Square this evening. Now, if you have not heard of Red Square before, and you're watching this video, of course, it's probably the most famous place in Russia by a very long way. The famous cobblestones, the walls of the Kremlin are right there. You can see the flag of the Russian Federation flying. And then as I track around, you can see the very bright lights of GUM department store or shopping center. It's very well lit in the evening time. And then you can see Kazan Cathedral. It's a very small church. There is quite a lot in the center of Moscow. It doesn't get as much notoriety. You can see the fairy lights there of Nikolskaya Street. And then right behind me, this is the State Historical Museum. Such a beautiful building. It's actually a number of buildings attached together, but this is one of them. You can actually enter from the other side. However, what we've really come here to see is an exposition honoring the Great Patriotic War, which happened in the 1940s, and Russia's ultimate victory in this, and honoring the amount of people who lost their life fighting this battle. And they've actually got quite a few different military objects here. You can see one of the planes. They have actually got the signage in Russian, English, and in Chinese or Mandarin, which is very interesting. The I-16 fighter. So these are actually all museum pieces that have been brought here. I think quite a few of these are from Patriots that they brought to this event. It's actually a really large event, and for them to close Red Square for 4 days for this, it's quite a big deal. They've also got lots of characters and people dressed up in the clothes of the era. Have a look for the background right there with the plane and the beautiful ladies. Everybody wants a photograph with them. And they've even got a few tanks that they brought here. Now again, this is the evening time. I could have come in the daytime today, but it was a little bit difficult. I had something else planned. The T-60 light tank. Now, I am reading the signs here. I don't know them all, based on the T-40 from 1941. Very interesting. There is a lot of people here. Now, I think most people will realize this is the last day of the exhibition. This was completely free to attend. You just had to pass through the gates at the entrance. And everybody's coming here to perhaps learn a little bit of history or understand a little bit more about what happened during the Great Patriotic War. Because for Russia, there isn't a single person in this country that has some effect of those events in the 1940s. And, you know, it still carries over to this present day. And the memories of this and the amount of lives that were lost during it. The ML howitzer. Wow. 152 millimeter gun. The wheels on it as well. Just have a look at that backdrop. I know I'm going to keep saying it and pointing it out to everybody. You know, this is actually such a beautiful place to come walk, no matter the time of year or what events they have. There's another small tank. So they've got huge floodlights that they can light up this whole Red Square area. So when they've got events like this, the T-37A light tank, very small object, really very nice condition. So some of these have literally come from the museum that you can go to, and they put them all here on display in the center of Moscow. The actual exposition that they've got here is broken up into 4 different zones, or thematic zones. It's the word they like to use a lot. And this initial part where we've all walked in from is showing a lot of the military equipment and a lot of the tanks and wheeled vehicles that were in battle during the Great Patriotic War. And they've been restored and built and preserved to show everybody, you know, some of the things that were in use then. You can even see some of the battle scars on the side. Actually, in Moscow region, they have a world-famous tank museum in Kubinka that people travel from all around the world to come and see this particular tank museum. And it has tanks from all countries of the world, not just Soviet and Russian tanks. Briefly walk around at this area and just have a look what they have. I know this doesn't sound right the way I would explain it, but these look like toys. They are obviously smaller versions of what would be current day bigger tanks. And these are a lot smaller in size, and a lot of them are described as light tanks. You can see the wording on a lot of the signs. And of course, if you came to Red Square on any day of the week, there'd be people everywhere trying to get photos, and today's no exception. The one difference coming here, there's no climbing on the equipment. Usually if you go to some of the memorials around Moscow, you can literally climb on them. If you go to the museum at Patriotic as well, they've actually got steps where you can climb on and off them. They've got an aeroplane here, which is pretty neat. Just so interesting to see tanks and planes on the cobblestones of Red Square, because this doesn't happen very often, that they do these sorts of things. The U-2, the most numerous biplane in history. Wow, well, that's a big deal. Just have a look at it against the backdrop of the buildings behind. Just fascinating. How do they possibly get these things here? Would they take them apart to bring them here and install them? Super curious about that. As you walk around, they've got all sorts of different vehicles and different equipment that was from the time of the Great Patriotic War. And it's just interesting. I'm trying to come up with the words that describe what we're looking at, and some of the different vehicles and bikes as well, with sidecars. The heavy motorcycle. Wow. Very interesting. And they've also got a truck over here, which I think maybe had speakers on it at some point, and maybe air raid sirens that they could sound off. They also have a concert stage set up, so hopefully the music isn't too loud. Interestingly, today the lights for St. Basil's Cathedral are off. And I think that's in honor of this event, so as not to detract from what they're showing here. They have the ladies standing here with the signal flags. Wow. Just the patience to stand there for the day. And there's different ones on the way down here. So they have different videos that they're showing here and talking about events. These are some of the names of the people that died and sacrificed themselves during the Great Patriotic War, and the thousands of names, or tens of thousands and millions. And they have this incredibly big video wall that spans a good part of the cobblestones here on Red Square. You see the eternal flame, which is not too far away from here. And then the amount of people that are gathered here. And there's a point where you can't explain.
Отцов, матерей, дедов, мужей, жен, братьев, сестер, однополчан, родных, друзей. Наступает минута молчания.
Very interesting, the last few minutes. So they've got different events that they're running every 30 minutes or 1 hour, and a lot of it's talking about Red Square quite literally, and events that took place here. And you can see on the videos behind the people marching through here. And there was a few minutes just now where there was an absolute silence here. And I think it's very rare that that would ever be the case on Red Square. Even the hundreds of times that I've been here myself. And there's something quite emotional about walking around, seeing this and taking it in and trying to understand about past events that occurred here on Russian soil. So I hope at least a little bit of this video gives you a feeling and an emotion about what took place many years ago, and you know, the amount of people that were involved in it and the amount of people that were affected by it is in the tens of millions throughout all of Russia. They also have some photos on display here as well, showing some of the different scenes and streets here in the center of Moscow, and just incredible. Again, they're in different languages, so you can read the English or Russian if you like, and talking about some of the events that took place very close to where I'm standing. And then they have some pictures of the trams, and then as you turn around here, they actually have one in place, which is just incredible. Now, I've only been in Russia for 10 years, and I don't know or wasn't here many years ago when these ran through the center of Moscow. So it's quite incredible to see one up close. They've got some suitcases that you can hold for a photograph, and everybody wants to get up close and personal with the tram. Let's have a look at the lights of GUM in the background at the same time. Incredible. Now, I have actually been to a couple of different tram parades that they've held in Moscow recently, so if you want to see that, have a look in the description of the video, and I'll put the link to them so you can see how many people come to see trams and wish there was more of them running in Moscow. And at the far side of Red Square, they've got some other vehicles, and there's a tractor here with a tank track on it, which is quite an interesting object in itself. And its towing capacity would have been incredible, I think. There's some other vehicles or wheeled vehicles as well. And then as I've been walking around, I noticed the tannoys, or the loudspeakers that they've installed. And then playing over the speakers is the sound of footsteps as people marched through the center of Red Square. And they've got different tracks that they're playing. And it's very moving, if that's the right word to say, as you have a look at some of the objects and understand what they are and their capabilities. On most days of the week, when you come to the center of Moscow, there is always a lot of people here wanting to get the perfect photo with St. Basil's Cathedral. And today they've got this like photo spot where you can stand and get a photograph. And it's just interesting that they've got the lights switched off and it's in darkness. And just the color of the sky tonight and the moon and the blue sky that would have been showing earlier. This is Spassky Tower, which is probably pretty much the one that I know the name of. All the different towers do have a name, but I know this one purely because of the clock on there as well. And one of these wheeled guns right here. It's incredibly interesting to walk around. There's a gentleman talking over the speakers and talking about the events that happened. And I think when you look at everybody here, there's almost an absolute silence across the Red Square. And then the music comes in. It's very, very difficult to talk about and explain the emotion behind it and the different scenes that they're showing, which I think, most people that are here on Red Square would maybe have family or parents, grandparents, great-grandparents who lived through this. And yeah, it's very, very moving, let me tell you. And all the people that are here, there is thousands of people. I mean, not even a normal day when you come here, there's this many people on Red Square. And it's absolutely full. Wow. I know I'm saying it and repeating it, but it's just something quite unique to come and see this tonight, and I'm glad I came. And I'm glad I'm able to show it to a few people who will watch this and take it in for what it is. And the events that took place many years ago now, but absolutely are not forgotten amongst the people in Russia. A little bit hard to see on the screen now because it's very bright, but it's showing the walls of the Kremlin, which would be behind this very big video wall. And you can see Lenin's mausoleum, which is again right behind where they built this wall. And it's showing the trees with the snow on top and what it will be like here literally in a couple of weeks from now. And they've got one of these theaters that they've replicated, which is one of the buildings in Moscow. There's a silence almost as everybody's slowly walking away from the center of Red Square. It's very different from normal times when you come walking here. Again, it's just so interesting to walk in Red Square, and I've done it so many times without picking up my camera and filming and recording, and just walk through here. And then when you come at night like this and then you see some of the displays at the same time, it just adds to the intrigue of this place and some of the things that took place here over the years. As we see the tanks again, and the displays that are around this end of Red Square. As I come to the end of the video, I hope this was interesting and something maybe a little bit different. I wasn't sure what to expect when I was coming here tonight and what I was going to see. A few channel subscribers mentioned to me about this event and that I should definitely come here and walk around. I posted a few photos on Telegram tonight as well, so if you want to follow my channel. And there's definitely a certain emotion that you hopefully perhaps heard during the video, and there's a rawness to what I've shown you here. And there is museums in Moscow that you can visit. There's museums in other cities of Russia that depict the events of the Great Patriotic War. But coming to Red Square and feeling it, it's just another emotion altogether. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Maybe put a heart in the comments even. That would be very nice. And I thank everybody for watching. If you want to follow my Telegram channel right here, it's one click away. And then if you want to watch an old video on the channel, there's one to watch right now. You can keep traveling with Russell. From a cold Red Square, I'm off on another adventure. Bye.